All right, welcome back, everyone, and we want to talk a little Big 12 basketball here. You don't mind me referring to you as the young Visser?
I've never felt so young in my life.
I bet you have. That's one of the ladies over on the news set.
Oh, my God. I'm doing just getting older every day, buddy. Getting older every day. It's all Visser and the Geezers. I think that's pretty good.
What do you think about this Big 12 thing? What are we gonna do here? I think it's a better overall conference, don't you?
I think the conference, except for Oklahoma and Texas Tech, the 10 schools above there are you can lose at any time. You referenced Kansas, and they have been taken to the limit for a few basketball games here. I think they've won. They're 17-0. They've won 5 of those games by 5 points or less. They do have a target on their back. Everybody's going to give them their best game. And when you play against a team like Nebraska at home, no matter where you play Nebraska plays ugly. You're going to end up playing ugly, and they just eked out that basketball game. But they're still the best team.
Yeah, they are. But our radio partner on 810, Kevin Keesman, says the race is over. I mean, it's all over. And how do you do that? I mean, we got a few games to play. What's your thought?
It's not over yet. I think one of the South teams, and we'll find out this week, Texas A&M and Texas play each other. I think Texas A&M could be for real. Let's not forget they already knocked off one of the best teams in the North in Missouri, and then now you get basically 4 gimme games you mentioned with Oklahoma and Texas Tech. Some of these South teams, Texas and Texas A&M, they're going to rack up some wins. One of the two of them, if not both of them, will be there hanging with Kansas, I think, right till the end.
Well, they both have to go to KU, and then K-State and Missouri both have to go to Texas and Texas A&M. Let's take a look at these standings, Frank, and get your comments on it, because you've got 4 teams right there. Texas got a pretty tough road ahead. I think they're at Baylor. Where's Texas? At A&M and Kansas this week.
Right, and KU, they're at Baylor tomorrow, okay, which I think maybe they're looking past the Nebraska game a little bit. They know they go on a road. Should be a tough game. Baylor's undefeated at home. Then Texas comes there. The game I look at is the game after the Texas game. They're at Colorado, probably the most surprising team in the Big 12 right now.
What about these Buffaloes? Are they for real or what?
Well, define for real. Are they going to be in the race for a long time? No, but I was looking through their schedule. It's feasible they could win 8 or 9 games maybe this conference season, and who knows, maybe that gets them on the bubble of the NCAA tournament, but you just look through the schedule. They still got to play Kansas a couple of times. They got a lot of tough games left, and they just don't have size. They're missing a lot, but they're a decent team. They're no pushover.
All right, we talked about Kansas last 3 games. I mean, they've been tough.
Yeah, they've been very tough for them.
Iowa State gave them all they wanted in Ames. We saw what happened yesterday, and Nebraska just, killed them on the boards, on the offensive boards. Nebraska controlled it, beat them by 19-9 or something like that.
Yeah, right, and I'll tell you the big thing right now, and I think the big question mark out there is what's going on with Josh Selby, and you alluded to that. He sat for the last 12, 13 minutes of this basketball game, did not play in the basketball game at that time. He won the opening round game. As soon as he came in, his first game out of the chute, he was phenomenal. Everybody expected him to play that way. If he doesn't play like a one-and-done player, and people will say, oh, he needs another year. Oh, we hope he gets another year. Well, if he doesn't play good enough to be a one-and-done player, Kansas will not get to where they want to get.
Lance, he pulled him at the 18:30 mark.
Right.
So a minute and a half into the second half, he yanked him out of the ball game. He never came back. I mean, this is supposed to be the hot shot guy. What do you make of this?
I remember a conversation I had with Self before Selby played a game, and he said he didn't want him playing point at the beginning because he said he thought he made a mistake with Mario Chalmers, forcing him to become a playmaker too early. He wanted Selby to kind of sit on the wing, feed off of Tyshawn Taylor, hit some outside shots. I think maybe he felt Selby was ready to be that playmaker once conference started, and maybe now he's starting to second-guess that. I think Selby's going to be just fine, but again, I think Bill Self wants to ease Selby into that playmaker role as more of a point guard.
All right, Missouri Tigers, what are you making them?
What took you so long to get your Missouri Tigers on? I thought you might have been skimming over that since you picked them to win the Big 12. I will tell you this.
It's not over yet, though, is it?
I know it's not over. Here's the deal. The loser tomorrow, okay, between Missouri and Kansas State and Columbia, has no chance to win the Big 12. Whoever loses that basketball game will not win. But now that doesn't mean they're going to have a poor season or whatever, but they have no chance with 3 losses because they have to play Kansas. Both of them have to play Kansas twice, and they have to play Texas and Texas A&M on the road. So they'll have no chance at that point. So it's a huge game for both of these teams tomorrow who stand at 1 and 2 in the Big 12 conference.
Why am I looking at all the bad shots of Missouri? Didn't they take this game to overtime? Who's the humphead that put these highlights together? They're nothing but bad shots. What's the deal on this, Lance?
Well, I think what we're seeing is the end of games, which is what Missouri struggled with. That Georgetown game and this Texas A&M game, you think about how close they are to only having 1 loss, and Jack, I'm sure you think about that quite often, that they're close to only having 1 loss this season. They're obviously a good team, but they do need to finish ball games.
Yeah, and I thought they kind of panicked yesterday. They really did. They turned that ball over, and
they had the game won.
They had the game won.
They really did have the game won.
Well, they lost at the free throw line. I mean,
yeah, sure
you know, you make 9 out of 19. I mean, a great disparity though. The other team goes to the line 38 times.
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, it's a road. That's what happens.
That's what happens, and everybody feels the referees get caught up on the home courts, and whoever's playing home has a distinct advantage. But for Missouri, they got Kansas State, Iowa State at home. These next 2 games, it's hugely important for them. Then they play at Texas, at Oklahoma State. They've got to get this thing going in the right direction.
All right, apparently Frank has chased off another player. Freddie Esprilla left the other day. So what's going to happen?
I chased him. What did I do?
Yeah, you're the second one, right? So what are we going to do here? Is the ship righted now?
You know, I think it's going to start going in the right direction here for Kansas State, mainly because they're getting Curtis Kelly back. This is a team, they don't have Denny Clemente to create off the dribble. They need to play inside out, and Curtis Kelly's the one guy that can score in the post. And then the other thing they have is good outside shooters. So if they can start getting some post play, they can kick it out and have these shooters make some outside shots. But we look at the schedule here. It is just brutal over the next 4 games. So, well, I think Kansas State's going to get it turned around quickly. They got to win one of these games here, one of these games like the Missouri game coming up, something like that, because they really are in danger of not being able to win 10 games in conference, which is something you got to do to make the tournament here.
All right, guys.
I think the other thing with Kansas State, they're 145th in country in shooting percentage. There's the key. They play defense. They just can't play. I
don't like their chances at all tomorrow. I really don't. Not in Columbia.
No, not on the road. This is going to be very difficult for them tomorrow.